Welcome back, my loyal citizens of Ottawa. It is I, your general manager, GM Yeesh, and we are up at the trade deadline. And in this video, I want to get up to the draft lottery, simulate the rest of the season, right? But first, we need to figure out what moves to make, if any, at the deadline. So I asked you boys for advice, and this is what the analysts have for us. Let's take a look, boys. First comment says, keep Duclair and see how he pans out. Keep Anderson, as he needs to retire as a senator, and trade Bodker and maybe Smith at the deadline if they are worth anything. Now, I completely agree with, let's see here. I completely agree with holding on to Duclair. Take a look at him, boys. He's only 23 years old. He's a right winger, and our right wing depth is brutal. I mean, look at that. We have Batherson, Bobby Ryan, and maybe Yurko. Maybe Yurko can be something, but Duclair perfectly fits our team identity. He's young, he's super fast, he's a sniper, and he's skilled. I say it's worth holding on to him, even if he's a pending UFA at the end of the year, right? The reward outweighs the risk of losing him. We'd only get like maybe a very late second for him. So that I completely agree with, which leaves us with Bodker, Anderson, and Smith. But we have another comment. Let's take a look at this, boys. Craig Anderson needs to retire as a senator, and it'll be hard to let Smith go, as he's been with the team since like '08. All right, so you guys want Anderson to retire as a senator, and his trade value is super low anyway. It's not going to make or break our franchise if we keep the guy. So I'm perfectly okay with him retiring as a senator. Now, Zach Smith, the team is definitely headed in a different direction than Smith, right? The guy is slow. He's more of a depth player. He's a little too old for this rebuild. But at the same time, he's been with the team for a decade now. I feel like it would be disrespectful to trade him at the deadline just like he was another rental. So I will not be trading Smith at the deadline. If we do decide on a trade for him, it's going to be at the draft when he has plenty of time to prepare, and I will make sure he has a role wherever he goes. So no need to worry about that, boys. Now, I still have a job to do, and this team still needs to improve, right? So any chance to improve, I will jump at. So I drew a trade up, boys, and take a look at this. There's a couple things I want to show you here. First, look at this. Boston, let's see. They are currently third in the Atlantic, 7 points ahead of the second wildcard team. But look at this, boys. Torrey Krug is out with an injury, and I went to the injury report, right? After I saw this, he's out with a broken leg until middle of May. So he's done until like round 3 of the playoffs, basically. But the Bruins are still trying to go all in. Char could retire in a year. Bergeron and Marchand aren't getting any younger. But look at this. The guy they have playing Krug's, what do you call it? Absence. Matt Grechlik, whatever his name is. 0 points in 17 games as an offensive defenseman. So they definitely need that defensive presence, right? And I know last video I touched on Ceci being minus 31. And a couple people are saying, all right, it's a team stat. Of course he's going to be minus. But take a look at this, boys. This is insane to me, right? Look at Ceci's stats here. He has 23 hits in 51 games. So he's simulating like an offensive defenseman. They don't hit. A guy like Branny, right? He's not going to hit. He's not going to be physical. But look at his offensive categories. He doesn't have any, like his passing, deking, hand-eye, puck control, and offensive awareness are all brutal if he's going to be playing like an offensive defenseman. I think that's why he's simulating so terribly. Compare him to a guy like Dylan DeMello. Let's look at his hits. 94 hits. DeMello, he's a worse player. And he has like triple the amount of hits Ceci has. I mean, to me, Ceci is completely expendable at this point, so I can go ahead and throw him in. And another guy we do not need to hold on to is Mikhail Bodker. The reason for this is, yes, he is a right-wing sniper, and yes, he is fast, but he's a little too old. He only has 7 goals, and he's barely shooting as is, right? I mean, let's see, 105 shots, right? Even if he was shooting 10% at this point, that'd be like, what, 10 goals, 11 goals? So I don't think he's the answer on the right wing side. I'm perfectly okay with getting rid of him. So I'll go ahead and throw Bodker in. And I believe I should throw in a sweetener because while I am abusing the fact that, what do you call it? I'm abusing the fact that the Bruins need to go all in, which I think is perfectly fair and legitimate. I am going to request for a first-round pick from them, so I want this trade to be fair for both sides, right? I still think we're getting the better end of it because we are getting rid of basically 2 depth players who we do not need, right? And just so we can meet the cap floor, I'm going to retain salary on Bodker. He only has a year and a half left on his contract, and we will not be a cap team in that time, so I'm perfectly okay with that. And to make this trade even more fair, we are going to take on David Backes in the last 3 years, basically 2.5 years of his contract. So in exchange for all that, we are going to get a first-round pick, boys. Now, the value here is that with Krug being out, they might not even make the playoffs, right? We aren't going to get a lottery pick, but it will not be top 10 protected. So if it finishes like 8th last, that pick will be ours. I feel like that's a perfectly fair trade-off in exchange for taking on a bad contract and giving them the depth at the deadline that they need. I believe they are, let's see, I might have to take on these 2 contracts, 50, yeah. So retaining salary, this looks, maybe I should give up a third. Let's see. I'll give up a fourth. I feel like a fourth is fair. So Cody Ceci, Mikhail Bodker, and then these 3 sweeteners in exchange for taking on David Backes' contract and their first-round pick this season. I feel like that's a perfectly fair trade, and hopefully we'll be able to find a stud with that first-rounder, right, boys? We need to be active at the draft this year. We'll go through. Trade accepted. I'm happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the Boston Bruins, and we consider it a done deal. Okay, so this is my first big move as GM of the Ottawa Senators. Let me know what you guys think. Did I overpay? Was the Backes contract not worth taking on? Is it going to hinder us in the future? Let me go ahead and edit the lines real quick, boys, and I'll do some power video editing there. Alrighty, boys. We got the lines out of the way. Now, let's see. How many picks do we have this year in the draft? We are gearing up to have a big draft year this season, boys. Next year is going to be the huge one, but in this one, we really need to acquire that right-handed shooting defenseman. I feel like that's the biggest concern in the organization right now, with guys like Josh Norris scoring in the minors, Formanton absolutely tearing it up in juniors. I mean, how many goals does this kid have? 32 goals in 38 games. Like, good gosh. The sniper role, I don't think it's necessarily filled yet, but I don't feel as apprehensive about it as I did at the start of the season. But look at this. We have Shabbat. He's going to be that number 1 defenseman, that Duncan Keith-style player that we can just absolutely run with in the playoffs. Brandy can be that power play quarterback. Take a little pressure off Shabbat to perform offensively and focus more on his two-way game. But we don't have a right-handed shot to complement them. Wolanin, he's a lefty. Lajoie, also a lefty. Thanks for telling me how to pronounce his name, by the way, boys. Maxime Lajoie. Jaros is a righty, but can he play top 4 minutes? I'm not sure. DeMello, iffy. So I feel like Anderson, a couple years away. I feel like our best bet to get that right-handed shooting defenseman is either going to be through draft or the trade, since we can't make any big moves for free agents, right? So that's going to be the biggest key going into the draft this year, is finding that right-handed shooting defenseman. Let me go ahead and do some scouting, boys, and we'll get right up to simulating. Alrighty, boys, there we go. If you guys ever want to watch me do the scouting, let me know and I won't edit it out. I find it tends to be a bit tedious at times, so I like to get it out of the way quickly. Save video time. I don't want to run too long. Let's go ahead and simulate. Oh, our last game of the season against Columbus. That could be a good one, boys. It could be the difference between them making the playoffs and us potentially getting a lower pick, right? So that could be an interesting game to watch out for. Let's go ahead and simulate a couple weeks in advance here. See if players want to meet with me. Interesting. Very interesting. Who wants to meet with me? Gabrick. Uh-oh. I'm not happy you chose to trade away Mikhail Bodker. It really changed the locker room for me. All right. So I'm pretty sure he gained morale from the team meeting. So if players gain morale from one thing, they'll gain it from that same color every time. Demanding. Yes, favorably. Very nice. Glad to join the team via trade. I'm just going to go demanding. That's generally the safest one. You know what? It worked out. I'm not going to complain. I knew what I was doing the whole time. Being traded is a big change, but I'll make you proud of your choice. Heck yeah, Kuhlman. You're a stud in the Stanley Cup final. I remember watching you play. You got a fair deal with that trade. Boom. Yeah, just favorably with everybody. Why not? All right. Let's go ahead and simulate past the trade deadline. Most of the moves we make are going to be at the draft, boys. I don't want to load up on picks just for the sake of loading up on picks. Fortunately, this roster is now... darn it. Philippe Gustafsson, our super sweet prospect goalie, goes down with a minor injury. He'll be back in a couple days. We can go ahead and throw him back in. Should only take a couple seconds, so I'm about the video editing. Yeah, this roster is gutted, boys. It is gutted and in a bad way. Good gosh. Yeah. This last stretch of the season is going to be rough. But hey, you know what? At least the minor... Batherson's an 80. Oh my gosh, man. This guy's going to be a stud in the future. Jackard. Now, I heard that guy is pretty good in real life, Joey Jackard, but I didn't want us to, like, have a ton of prospects just for the sake of having a ton of prospects, right? So, I left him in whatever role he already was. Backus? Oh, he's a presence. I'm not one to usually complain, but my lack of ice time is starting to bug me. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, boys. I scratched him. I scratched him. The way I see it, the sooner this guy retires, the better. Now, his $6 million captive salary isn't the worst thing in the world for us. Oh, come on, beat Boston. Darn it. Because it basically allows our young guys, like, think of it as that $6 million allowing us to hit the cap floor to pay guys like, play guys like Batherson, Mahler, Yurko, whoever we call up. Philippe Chaplik has been injured with a sore shoulder. March 29th, so he will get back before the playoffs. Very good. Shabbat leads the team in points. Based. So let's see. Where are the Boston Bruins? They are 89 points. I don't know. The other team's catching up to them. It's close. What about the Columbus Blue Jackets? 80. Oh, never mind. No one's catching Boston. Jeez. So the Columbus Blue Jackets have to jump 2 teams basically, right? The way I see it. While let's see, yeah, they have to get they're 8 points back of that wild card spot, so they're gonna have to jump the Hurricanes and the Rangers. So that last game of the season, let's go ahead and simulate up to it, boys, and see if we can gatekeep a bit. Like Columbus, if we don't get to make the playoffs, neither do you, Columbus, and hopefully you don't win the lottery because we won't get that pick. Jack Hughes, medium franchise. Let me know what you think, boys. Should we trade up for this DeAndre Sanford kid? I don't think it's necessary. Now, maybe if the perfect, like, everything just lines up, right? I mean, he does have A+ shooting. Oh, my gosh. This kid is a franchise talent. He's fast. He fits our system. He's a right winger. He's a sniper. His NHL comparison is Patty Kane. I mean, oh, magic hands. Jeez. If the opportunity presented itself, I would be perfectly okay with that. Oh, a medium elite defenseman. Please be a... Darn it. He's a freaking lefty. The left side, man. I feel like whenever you need a right-handed shot, look at this. We've scouted 2 elite defensemen. Attaway scouts, by the way. Fantastic work on that. And they're both lefties. We need that right-handed shot. Like, potential is potential. I'm not going to complain. But that right-handed shot, they're not going to be as good as they should be, right? If they're a lefty playing on the right side, unless they're used to playing on their offhand. So, Philippe Chaplik, put you back in the lineup. There we go. Hopefully the AHL team gears up for a fantastic playoff run. I won't monitor it too closely, as I'll focus on scouting, just do some power video editing to get us to the end of the video, so the runtime isn't too long. Hopefully Duclair wants to re-sign with us. Oh no, Batherson's been injured with an abdominal strain, April 11th. Okay, he'll be back for the playoffs. As long as they're back for the playoffs. Oh no, Columbus took off. What, they have 92 points? 94? 97. The Columbus Blue Jackets are going to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bruins fell back to the wild card, so that's good. So, at the very best, we're going to have some picks in the early teens, it looks like. Go ahead and hold a team meeting. Why not? Last game of the season. It's time to face facts. We are on a losing streak here, but streaks are made to be broken. They can't last forever. Now show me you want to be winners. Sure. Why not? Shabbat and Smith. Losing morale. That's fine. 3-6 in our last 10, so we're not hitting 30 wins. We'll just go ahead and simulate that game. Holds no meaning whatsoever. And we lose in our last game. Rough first start, or rough year one for the Ottawa Senators here. Let's check and see how the kids did, though. Thomas Chabot. Brady Tkachuk, second on the team in scoring. 46 points as a third liner in his rookie season as an 18-year-old. That is fantastic, boys. Colin White, Pajot, Gabrick showing flashes. I think that's his first 20-goal season, like 5 years. The Duke of Ottawa, Anthony Duclair, 40-point season. Colin White, very impressive rookie campaign. Bobby Ryan bouncing back 20 goals. So, I mean, we have a couple people who could be pieces on this team, right, for the future. We don't want to just trade away everybody for the sake of trading people away. But, minus 32 for... Oh, my gosh! 211 penalty... Oh. Wow. Okay. We are going to have a talk about you and your discipline, Borowecki. Now, I guess it doesn't change much in the sense that, what do you call it? In the sense that, we would have sucked anyway, right? Like, it wouldn't have mattered much. Yeah, we finished last in the NHL. The Avalanche are going to have our first-round pick and the best shot at Jack Hughes in the draft. That's perfectly fine with me. I don't care. We will become a far better organization, boys. Make no mistake. Let's take a look at the stats around the league. I'm curious here. Tyler Seguin led the league in points. Radulov third in scoring. Wow. 107. OV looks like he won the Rocket Richard. Yes, sir. Every year it feels like. It's ridiculous. To just rename it to the Ovechkin. Honestly, greatest goal scorer of all time. Don't at me. Elias Pettersson leads all rookies in points. Kotkaniemi was second. Brady Tkachuk third, and Colin White fourth. So 2 of our rookies finished third and top 5 in scoring this season. That's fantastic. Brady Tkachuk almost having a 20-goal campaign his rookie season. 15 power play points. Wow. So Brady Tkachuk on that left wing side could be a lethal force on the power play moving forward. Get him and Branny. Oh, dirty, dirty boys. Rookies, very strong crop of rookies this year. Nothing too spectacular, but guys like Pettersson, Kotkaniemi, and Brady. It's this draft class is looking to be a solid one. All right, so we got all of that out of the way. We know where we're going to be picking. Real quick, I need to look at the contract situation, see who's trying to come back. Colin White. Anthony Duclair is interested in re-signing with us. What would it take? 2 years at $2.1 million. Now, I can't offer him anything below that, as per Bettman's restrictions, right? I feel like this is a perfectly reasonable. I could, I guess, what? Yeah, sign him long-term, and we could always trade him away if he doesn't live up to it, but that's not realistic, and it sends a bad message to anyone who wants to sign here in Ottawa. We will give him 2 years to prove himself, boys. There we go, because he is a pending UFA at the end of the season. Colin White. Okay. Whitey's looking to get paid, boys. I'm willing to hold off on this. We can take these negotiations post-draft or whatever. Duclair was the priority because he's a pending UFA, right? So, with all this out of the way, boys, I'm going to focus on scouting, do some power video editing, and we'll get to the end of the video where you see the Stanley Cup champion, take a quick look at the draft class, and we can figure out what moves we need to make at the draft. But I feel like it needs to be a right-handed shooting defenseman. If you boys can come up with any names, let me know. I will figure them out. And let's go ahead and do some power video editing up to the end of the draft here. Well, boys, your year 1 Stanley Cup champions are the Dallas Stars. So Tyler Seguin cleaned house this season, boys. Won the Art Ross, probably going to win MVP. Potentially had a Conn Smythe campaign, and he's now a Stanley Cup champion. Boston, what are you doing? Hopefully that won't be the only stud they would have traded away, looking at that first-round pick. All right, so I have a little more scouting to do, boys. I'm going to do a little more power video editing. Sorry for all the transitions and skips. I want to make this video short as possible. And then we can get up to the draft, look at player growth, and I will end the video there with any ideas of what we should do next. Alright, so we have the draft lottery here, boys, and thank gosh Colorado rather, did not get the first overall pick. Nashville will select first, Anaheim second, Detroit third, Colorado with our pick fourth. I don't really see anywhere in that range to trade up. Maybe to number 9 if like Byram or that Swedish defenseman falls, right? But I don't see anything. I don't see any team that realistically move the pick except maybe Colorado. So we could trade back for our own pick. I would not do that for either of those defensemen. If you boys want me to make an attempt to trade for that sniper kid if he falls to the 4th pick, let's just take a look here. He is still projected to go 3rd, but if by some miracle, 50 goals, 110 points, good gosh. If by some miracle he falls to number 4, and you guys want me to make a move for him, let me know, boys. I will do everything within my power. 7th, I mean, Minnesota had the 9th. I guess they'd be wanting to give it up. Maybe. Wonder who this kid is. Hopefully we get him scouted out by the end of the season. Ekman Larson, medium top 6. I found one gym. Who was it? Yeah, this power forward kid. A shooting. He's a power forward. He has a pro release, puck protection, balance. He's great frame. His NHL comparison, Jeff Carter. I'm definitely going to pin him, boys. Any other medium elite scouted out? Right. We found a goalie prospect. Volchinkonov? Dimitri. We found a medium elite prospect in Dimitri and a medium elite prospect in Malikov. So that is 2 gyms our scouts dug up. Fantastic scouting work. And there are a couple of low elites. I'm probably only going to target one of them in the 2nd round, whichever you guys think I should go after, since we already have a plethora of left-handed shooting defensemen. There were some medium top 6s as well, a couple snipers, but neither of their stats, I mean, the power forward has a better shot than both these guys, right? So I'm not too heavy on either of them. This draft class doesn't seem to be exactly loaded. There's a couple studs. Oh, retired players. There's a couple studs, but no one huge, right? So if we want to acquire that right-handed shooting defenseman, a Boquist, a Yoki Haru, Dante Fabro from the Predators, Liljegren from the Leafs. Throw some names out there, boys. I will look at them. I feel like this is the biggest concern in the organization right now. They don't have to be NHL ready, but moving forward, I don't want to have to be put in the position where next year I might have to pass up on an elite forward because I really need that right-handed shooting defenseman in the draft, right? It's not the position I want to put myself in. So if you guys think of any young right-handed shooting defenseman that we might be able to trade for, let me know. I'll take a quick look at the growth here. Logan Brown, Batherson, NHL ready, no doubt. Very nice. Lannon will be NHL ready. We'll have to give that guy a try on the top 4 minutes. Colin White grew. Chris Tierney. Now he's probably upset because of team performance, but he did grow. So that's why his overall is it should go back to normal by the start of next season. Shabbat developing to that number 1 elite defenseman who we can just absolutely run with in the playoffs. Balser showed some growth. Let's see. Very nice. His offensive awareness went up. That's huge. Very disciplined guy. So, I mean, if he can develop that scoring game, he might be someone for us down the line, right? Anderson. So not too much more growth in the NHL. Check the AHL. Branny. Bays. Let's take a look at him. Minor top 2 defenseman. Branny might be NHL ready next season. And his offensive category is it's already almost borderline elite in the NHL, right? So nice to see his shot improved. Defensive awareness. Very nice. And he's a fast skater. Perfect. Fits right into our system. So Brandy might be on the NHL roster next season. I'm not in a rush to rush anyone there, right? We can play the slow game. Think about how Detroit, remember? They used to have all those prospects just develop into solid NHL players, and then they call them up. I'm thinking we can do the same with some of these prospects. I don't want to overplay and hurt anyone, but with guys like Brandy, it might hurt them to stay down there, right? So last thing I'm going to do is check the draft board real quick, boys. Projected picks, here we are. We have the 21st and 30th. Oh, Columbus made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, boys. Good gosh. 21st, we might be able to find someone there. 30th, ooh, maybe Kaliev. I think he's a right-wing sniper. Our tops, our overall forward depth chart is an E, the worst it can be. We have some good forward prospects, good top prospects, but our top 6, top 9, yeah, the NHL is garbage. But we have some good prospects on defense. Top prospects, yeah. They say our defensive depth is overall weak. It's probably because of the lack of a right-handed shot. Goalie prospects, I'm not too worried about that. Gustafsson seems like a perfectly fine goalie prospect, and we can add that other goalie prospect down the AHL. So I'm going to end it here, boys. Let me know what you think I should do with the draft. Trade up, keep the picks we have, and just go for quantity over quality. If I should make a move for right-handed shooting defenseman, which I absolutely think we need to do. But if you guys think I should prioritize a sniper like Owen Tippett or someone else, let me know. And I will see you boys in the next episode.